boys and girls. Today's learning target is I understand that the times symbol, the x in a multiplication equation, stands for equal groups of. So we're going to look at some equations where we're doing multiplication by looking at equal groups. We're also going to learn some important multiplication vocabulary words. You're going to learn the words factor and also the word product. After that, you're going to show what you know using a Google form, and we're going to get to play with Google Slides for the first time. So let's get started. Okay, so let's talk about what it means to multiply. We introduced this a little bit last week with our loops and groups game. Now we're going to dig into it a little more. When you multiply, you're working with equal groups. In the top picture, there are groups of shells that are equal. Each group has 2 shells. That makes them equal. Down here, there are groups of shells that are not equal. They all have different numbers of shells in them, so those are not equal groups. When you have equal groups, like in the top one on the last slide, where there's 2 and 2 and 2, you can multiply to find a total instead of adding up 2 plus 2 plus 2. Remember, multiplying is a shortcut for times when you would be adding the same number over and over, or when you have equal groups. It's also very important to remember that groups are called equal groups when they have the same number of objects in them. So, here we have 3 groups, 1, 2, 3, and there's 2 shells in each group. You can write this as 3 times 2. 3 from the 3 groups times 2 shells in each group. Think of 3 times 2 as 3 groups of 2. 3 groups of 2 shells is 6 shells in all. 3 times 2 is 6. You can use pictures and models, like we did on the last page, to understand multiplication. A picture can help you see what multiplication really means. In this picture, there are 3 groups of 4 balls. There's a yellow group, an orange group, and a green group. 3 groups of 4 balls is 12 balls in all. The equation would be 3 times 4 is 12. 3 groups times 4 balls in each group equals 12. So this little fellow has a tip for us so that we can learn an important math word. 3 times 4 is a multiplication equation. The numbers you multiply are called factors. So in this equation, 3 is a factor and 4 is a factor because those are the numbers we're multiplying together. One of our factors told how many groups we had. We had 3 groups. The x just means groups of. 3 groups of. It also means times or multiply. Here's the other factor in this equation, 4. That factor tells how many are in each group. Another important math word for multiplication is product. Product is the result, or the answer to a multiplication equation. The product tells how many in all. So when you see 3 times 4 equals 12, you say 3 times 4 equals 12. That's how you would read this equation. 2 factors multiplied together, and you get the product. Now, remember when we were talking about arrays a few weeks ago? You could arrange the equal groups into rows and stack them on top of each other in an array. We had 4 yellow balls, 4 orange balls, and 4 green balls, and we still do, we just organized them differently. Now there are 3 rows with 4 balls in each row, and that's 12 balls in all. Same equation, same product, but we just organized the factors in a way that might make it easier to see and count them. All right, let me walk you through the assignments you're going to do today. We'll zoom through the Google form, but then the other one is a little different. So, for understanding multiplication, the form, you're going to tell your name, and you're going to answer a couple questions about how many groups are in a picture. Excuse me, how many triangles are in each group in this picture? Put the answer there. How many triangles are in each group in this picture? You might have to write a little more for this one. Now, this third question talks about both of those triangle pictures. The first picture up above showed equal groups, but the second picture, the one we can still see, did not show equal groups. In your words, explain why. Then we have another picture. Does it show equal groups? And how do you know? Make sure you use because and explain your thinking. Then we have a story problem about someone organizing books in an array. Each shelf on this bookshelf has 6 books in it. So then you'll answer some questions about the array. How many rows does it have, and how many books in each row? That's it for the form, but now I want to show you something else. I've made a Google slideshow to let you actually show your work and draw me some pictures. You haven't used slides very much, and we're going to be playing with them a little bit during the school year, more toward the end. I've set 2 questions as the background of different slides. In this picture, Becky has 5 groups of apples, and each group has 2 apples in it. You're going to use these 5 groups and draw the apples in each group. To do that, you're going to need to use some of the tools up here. Here's your mouse tool. This tool lets you put in a text box and type words, but you won't need that for this picture, or this page. This button is the image button, and it lets you insert pictures, like searching the web, just like in a Google Doc. This is the one you're going to want for this question, though. It lets you draw shapes, arrows, callouts, and equation things. I would go into shapes and have circles for my apples. So it said each group has 2 apples, so I would need to draw 2 circles and keep going like that. This tool lets you draw lines. This tool changes the color. This tool changes the color of your lines, and this changes the thickness of your lines. The buttons over here are the same as in Google Docs. Again, we're going to play with this more during the year, but I put a line in there. But for today, we're just going to use it in this problem to put 2 apples in each group and show the equal groups. On this page, you need to do the whole picture. The story, or the situation, is that John earned $3 4 times. So you might make a group for how many times he earned $1. That's one of the factors for our multiplication, that it was 4 times that he did it. That's all I'm going to say for this one right now, because I want to see what you do with it. But draw a picture that shows the situation. John earned $3 4 times. Down here, you're going to need to use that text box tool so that you can type numbers in this equation. You're going to fill in the blanks to complete the addition sentence that describes your picture. Remember, multiplication and repeated adding do the same stuff. If he earned $3 4 times, think about what you would be adding 4 times and what the answer would be. If you have any questions about how to do your Google slide and show your work this way, we can work on it during our meetings today or during office hours. That's all for now. See you in the next video.